Hi everyone, this is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop in Sydney, and I have an interesting little lesson to show you today. I was on my Facebook group, on two of my Facebook groups. So I was on Lenormand and Cartomancy in Facebook, and my other Facebook group is Tarot. And I posed a question to the participants in the group. And the question is, can male client trust his colleague? Now, I didn't tell the people online who the colleague and who the male client is, because I didn't want them to be biased. So I left it without any name or any way that they could find out who I was talking about. And I put a spread in the Lenormand group, which are these cards, and I put a spread into the tarot group, which are these cards. Okay, so I randomly did these two spreads, and I put them online with the same question without telling them who it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the comments, but I'm not going to show you the names. I'm not going to publish the names. I'll just use people's first name. So now the people that I've done this reading about is, the question was, can male client trust his colleague? The male client I was thinking about is Donald Trump, and his colleague is Rudy Giuliani. Okay, so this is some of the things that some people have said about this spread. Now I'll tell you what I think about the cards too, and we'll see what people, if they're similar or different. So in Lenormand, I'll start with Lenormand first because it's a bit simpler. The mountain in Lenormand means an enemy, or a burden, or a block, or something in the way. The house can mean family. In this case, it could be the White House, because it's about Donald Trump. And the road means many decisions and many angles or many directions, many choices. Now, the question is, just to reiterate it, is can male client Donald Trump trust his colleague, Rudy Giuliani? Now, this to me, if I was reading for this client, I would already see this as a problem, because this is the card of enemy, and it's also the card of, something in the way, something negative to do with Donald Trump's safety and home base. And the road would indicate someone who's pointing in different directions, who's giving different meanings, false stories, or different contradictory stories. So can he trust him? Well, it looks like there's a lot of misinformation and direction going on, and it looks like there's an enemy involved. Now, this could be people outside of the White House, but because it's about Rudy Giuliani, this to me indicates that he's giving off different directions and different points of view and confusing, contradictory stories. Okay, so that's how I would read it. Now, the first person, I'll go back to Facebook and I'll read out what people have said. The first person, SB, said, stability is a challenge. Okay, so stability is a challenge. House and mountain. So house and mountain, because of this deception, there is deception with the road, misdirection. Teresa said, with the mountain and the house, I'm getting hard work for security. With the road, it will be all right as long as he pays attention to the signs. The crossroad could be a problem if he doesn't pay attention. Okay, good. Angela wrote, safer to not trust him. And then I asked Angela to explain more. And then what she did was she added up all the numbers, and that gave her the number 11, which is a whip in Lenormand it represents whip. So she said, I summed up to 11. I don't like the house whip combination. Also the path as an outcome card says to me something other than trust. I hope this makes sense. Okay, Angela, it does make sense. AN said she doesn't like number 22 for a trust issue. Can he be trusted? So she doesn't like that one, probably because it gives off different meanings and directions. Denny said, better not to trust. He plays at 2 fields at the same time, like double agent, and would do anything to hinder him. Now remember, I didn't tell the people online who this is about. So she's talking about Rudy Giuliani being a bit of a double agent there. Now, CA said burdens will stabilize. So burdens will stabilize. But no, he can't be trusted as the friend is double-faced. And I would indicate probably that means double-faced for her. Meredith said, on the surface it looks stable and secure house, but with the crossroad and mountain mirroring, they're mirroring each other, there seems to be something else at play. I would be very wary with these cards if he's of his motives. Wow. Margot said no, the colleague causes challenges within the company, mountain house, and won't play it straight. Crossroad on the end could be multiple. I'd say 2-faced. Okay. Tiffany said no. No, stability house is hindered by the mountain, and the path indicates 2 problems. Nothing is sure here. Very good. Robert said, I think the answer is not clear here, just that a decision is being made about it. You have one negative and one positive and one neutral. Okay, so he's sort of saying it's still unsure. Okay, very good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over to the tarot group. So that was Lenormand, and here we have the tarot group. I'm going to just try not to get people's names. Oops. Okay. Now we'll go to the tarot section. Now I'll put what I thought in there about this. So I thought someone's being closed, holding on to things, and there's a lot of mental kind of blockage. It's almost like very closed in. If you notice these 2 figures, they're sort of both got their arms in front of them crossed, sort of. Okay. This could also be stuff about money. Then it shows patience and waiting, and it also shows money. This is abundance or growth. Things grow slowly, but then it shows loss, and then it shows a lot of confusion and a lot of fantasy. So how I would read this is someone's holding on and trying to avoid or not open their eyes. It could be about literally about money loss. It could be about good things being lost in general, or prosperity being lost, and then it shows there's an illusion. So I would say to not trust this person, because mainly of the last card. The last card means false illusion or dreams or fantasy. Now, Soraya said online, she said, no, he is greedy and untrustworthy. So I'm assuming that's where she's getting that from. UO said he will try to rob the company blind. Interesting. Using the blind card there. Stacy said, I'd watch them closely. There's potential here for your client to be undermined in a very sly way. I feel like the colleague watches how your client does things, and he will go out of his way to learn and then undo your client. Very interesting. So she thinks Donald Trump's my client. So that's very good, Stacey. So I want to read that again because that was really good. There's potential here for your client, Donald Trump, to be undermined in a very sly way. I feel like the colleague watches, so the colleague being Giuliani, watches how your client does things, and he will go out of his way to learn and then undo your client. Interesting. Janet said, When it comes to trust, I have to ask trust about what? A job-related situation, a project, a personal matter. I don't see ulterior motives or devilishness here. No devil, no knight of swords, and no five of swords. I'm seeing an issue with the querent not willing to share, perhaps even praise or the spotlight. Not willing to share praise or the spotlight. Interesting. Feeling conflicted, evaluating his investment with the company on the job, worrying that the other person will edge him out, and daydreaming about all the glorious options that maybe he would have if he were in the other person's position. Just my take. Interesting. So it looks like Giuliani might want to be the president. Okay. Zay said definitely not, and then I asked for more information, but Zay hasn't got back to me yet. Oh, actually, Zay has got back to me. She said, or he, the man is the first card. His colleague is withholding his intentions. He does not show his true nature. He keeps many things to himself. This is why the client, second card. So Zay is saying this is Rudy. This is the client, Donald. Second card is torn away about him. He knows deep inside not to trust him, but he feels that there is no physical evidence of that. This is because the colleague is skilled at hiding this. He only wants his own success to harvest. Third card. Even on the expense of getting the others fired, punished, or ridiculed. Fourth card. They eventually see that through the illusion, and that the colleague has to put up, last card, and regret trusting them. Interesting. Sorry, I made a botched job of that. So I'm going to read it again. The man is the first card, meaning the colleague, Rudy. Okay. Is withholding his intentions. He does not show his true nature. He keeps many things to himself. This is why the client, Donald Trump, is torn away about him. He knows deep inside not to trust him, but he feels that there is no physical evidence of that. This is because the colleague is skilled at hiding this. He only wants his own success to harvest. Third card. Even on the expense of getting the other fired, punished, or ridiculed. Fourth card. They eventually see through the illusion that the colleague has put up. Last card, and regret trusting him. Okay, now I get it. So she's saying, Zay is saying, I'm not sure if it's a woman or a man, Zay is saying that eventually Donald will regret hiring Rudy because he will see through his illusion. Interesting. Okay. Dawn said, cares for money, but might be content to sit on his laurels and daydreams. Okay. I can see that. Melissa just said no, he is deceptive, but hasn't given any explanation as far as I can see. Luxa said no, the right cards, but yes. Not the right cards, but yes, Luxus has said. And I asked Luxus to explain, but he hasn't got back yet, or she. Tiffany said not at all with final card, the Seven of Cups, so don't trust him because of that one. Robert said Seven of Cups means the decision is being decided on, but there's nothing in the rest to me that says one way or the other. So Robert said that about the other deck of cards as well. So he wasn't convinced one way or the other. Interesting. So what I'm getting is the two different systems are pretty much saying very, very similar thing. So, you know, I've used tarot and I've used Lenormand, and both sort of, you know, people's comments are pretty similar. So I wanted to see how that would work out. So there you go. Okay, so this is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop in Sydney, and I'll leave the video there. Please like if you like the video, and I'll make more. And sorry about my stops and starts, but it's kind of hard to read and film and be psychic all in one time, and read Facebook as well. Alrighty, so I'll see you in the next video.